The morning crowd at the café was quieter than usual, just the low hum of frothing milk, the quiet clatter of cups, the kind of warmth that didn't demand anything. I'd been coming here every Wednesday for almost a year, always before noon, before the noise of people who talk too loudly about their plans. She was already there. Same corner table. Left side. Always left. A loose navy cardigan, hair not styled like she was trying, but somehow elegant in a way that didn't care to be noticed. I never asked what she did. I only knew she preferred tea over coffee, always read half a book before closing it like she was protecting a secret, and occasionally looked out the window as if she remembered something she couldn't say out loud. She looked up when I entered, a small glance, just a flick. I pretended I didn't feel seen. Double espresso, the barista asked before I even opened my mouth. I nodded, murmured thanks. My voice always sounded louder than it should in mornings like this. I picked the usual seat, 4 tables away from her. Not too close. Not too far. Just within that strange perimeter of comfort where I could pretend it was coincidence. She lifted her cup slightly, not exactly a wave. More like an acknowledgement. A gentle, almost absent-minded gesture. I nodded back. We had never exchanged full names. But we remembered small things. I once lent her a pen when she couldn't find hers. She once commented that my shoes were always slightly wet, like I never avoided puddles. I didn't know why that stayed with me. The way she noticed quietly. Without sounding curious. I checked my phone again, nothing. A half-written message to my girlfriend still sat in drafts. I'd typed and deleted at least 7 versions. All of them sounded wrong. She was talking about moving in. And I didn't know how to tell her I'd hesitated before answering, not because I didn't care. But because somewhere between comfort and gravity, I'd started to feel miscast inside my own life. Rough morning? Her voice came from across the space. Not loud. Just calmly projected, like she'd assessed the distance. I looked up. I almost never replied first. Just thinking too early, I said, a small half-laugh. She smiled faintly. Those are usually the dangerous ones. I don't know why that felt heavier than it should. A pause. Not awkward. Just, deliberate. She returned to her book. I watched the way her thumb paused before turning the page, like she wasn't really reading anymore. I realized I'd been folding my napkin into smaller and smaller squares without noticing. I flattened it out quietly on the table. That was the thing about her, silence wasn't empty around her. It just wasn't rushed. I shouldn't have cared when she stood up to leave. But I did. As she reached the door, she paused, turned just slightly. By the way, she said, you never texted her. I froze. She gestured subtly to the reflection in the cafe window, my phone screen, still open on the unsent message. I wasn't looking, she added gently. But I've been there. Then she left. My phone buzzed the moment the door closed. One message. From her. Not the woman who just left. And before I read it, I already knew it wasn't going to be about love. To be continued, prompt 2. I didn't open the message immediately. It stayed there, glowing quietly on my screen as I stepped out of the cafe, into the kind of late morning air that felt too bright for my thoughts. I could still see her in my periphery, the older woman, reflected in the glass behind me even though she was already gone. I walked slower than necessary. The message was from my girlfriend. A photo of a necklace. Found this in your drawer. Who is it for? I didn't reply. Because the truth was, I didn't know why I bought it. I just knew it wasn't for her. I saw the older woman again 3 days later, not at the cafe. At the small community bookstore that always smelled faintly of old pages and dusted wood. It wasn't coincidence, but I still pretended surprise when our eyes met. You found the quiet corner, she said softly, noticing I hadn't moved from the philosophy shelf in 10 minutes. You knew I would. The words came out more honest than I intended. She didn't respond immediately. Just took a step closer. Close enough to see the faint lines near her eyes, not the kind that made her look old. The kind that made her look real. She glanced at the book in my hand. You read Marcus Aurelius on purpose? Or hoping he'll fix something for you? Is there a difference? This time, she laughed, the quiet kind. Barely there, but it rewired the room. We ended up sitting on the floor of the back aisle. No plan. No reason. Just, sitting. She asked nothing about the necklace. She didn't know. Yet somehow, I already felt like she would understand it better than the person I actually bought it for. I used to come here after work, she said, thumb running along the spine of her book. When I still had work. A beat. I turned to her, she didn't look embarrassed. Just factual. Unafraid of the truth. Left or lost? I asked quietly. She considered. Then, both. She didn't elaborate. And I didn't ask. I realized I hadn't breathed properly in a while. We stayed like that. Not touching. Barely talking. Just existing in the same corner space, anchored by the same unspoken heaviness. She reached for a book on the top shelf. It was slightly out of reach. Without thinking, I moved, my hand brushing her wrist as I helped take it down. Just a light touch. Accidental. Barely there. But she stopped. Not startled. Just silent. She didn't pull away. For one full second, neither did I. She took the book gently. Thank you, she said. But her voice, softer now, felt like it was thanking me for something else entirely. I didn't go back to the café the next morning. Not because I didn't want to see her. But because wanting was becoming visible. I stayed away for 4 days. On the 5th, I went right back. Same time. Same chair. Almost pretending I hadn't avoided anything at all. She wasn't there. Just an empty chair and a folded napkin left in the exact spot where her cup usually sat. I almost left. But then, the chair shifted. She appeared a moment later, slightly out of breath, holding a paper bag from the bakery next door. You came later than usual, she said, sliding into her seat. Casual. But observant in a way that stilled me. You noticed. I tend to notice things I shouldn't. She said it like a confession disguised as a joke. This time, she didn't open a book. She just held the warm bakery bag in her hands like she needed the heat from it. I shouldn't be here this often, she said quietly, almost to herself. The sentence sat between us like a sharp truth. Not accusatory. Just real. It was the first time she'd pulled back. I felt it immediately, a shift. A subtle wall. Not rejection. Just, caution. Me neither, I replied. Silence again. A soft, deliberate distance. We didn't touch the bakery bag. Just let it rest on the table like a peace offering neither of us was ready to accept. Do you ever feel like, I started, then stopped? She turned slightly. Waiting. Not pushing. Like you're in the right place, but it's the wrong version of you sitting there. Her eyes flickered. Not with surprise, with recognition. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. And then, someone walked in. A girl. My age. Blonde. Familiar. My girlfriend. She didn't see me yet, scanning the counter, texting, distracted. My body reacted before my thoughts. I straightened. Sat back. Almost like I'd been caught doing something illicit. Even though I wasn't. The older woman noticed everything, all of it, in a single, quiet glance. She didn't look away. But she did lean back in her chair. The space between us widening by inches. Careful. Controlled. The safest possible version of her. My girlfriend spotted me. She smiled. Walked over. And in the faint second before she reached our table, the older woman gave me the smallest, almost invisible nod. Go. Be who you're supposed to be. I hated how much that hurt. My girlfriend greeted her politely, not suspecting a thing. Just another person at a café table. They exchanged a soft smile, two worlds almost brushing. She left quickly. No awkwardness. No pause on her face. Like she'd always meant to. Like she'd never been there at all. But her half-drunk tea still sat on the table. Still warm. A trace. It was raining the next time I saw her. Not heavy, just the kind that softened the world rather than drowned it. I found her sitting on the covered bench outside the bookstore. No book this time. Just her hands folded, still, resting on her lap like she didn't quite know what to do with them. I didn't say her name, because I still didn't know it. I just sat beside her. We didn't speak at first. Just listened to the rain tapping the pavement. I wasn't sure you'd come back, she said eventually, not looking at me. Calm. Almost detached. But I heard the restraint underneath. I tried not to. That made her breathe, not exactly a smile. More like something inside her shifted. She stared forward. She's beautiful. It took me a few seconds to realize she meant my girlfriend. I didn't answer. Her voice was steady, but I could tell she was choosing every word like stepping across thin ice. You're young. You're supposed to be with someone who fits your life. Not with someone, she stopped. The end of that sentence hovered in the air, dangerously close to self-indictment. Someone what? She didn't finish. Just folded her hands a little tighter. The kind of silence that hurts more than words. I should have left it there. But something inside me, something I'd been trying to cage, slipped out. She doesn't see me, I said quietly. Not the way I actually am. Just the version she thinks I should keep being. A long, careful breath from her. Her shoulders softened. A storm passing through her chest. And I do? She asked. Not defensive. Not fishing. Just, exposed. I didn't answer immediately. Because yes. Because more than yes. Because I was terrified of how yes it was. I turned toward her, and she finally looked directly at me. That was when I saw it, the first crack in her restraint. Not longing. Not hunger. Fear. She spoke softer now, almost breaking. You don't understand how young you are yet. But no, she lifted her hand, not touching me, but close enough that my breath hitched. You think you do. But you don't. The rain filled the silence. Cars passing quietly on wet road. She looked down. He was your age, she said. It was the first time she had referred to someone, past tense. A marriage? A mistake? A parallel? She didn't explain. She didn't need to. Her hand was still suspended between us, not touching, but almost. I didn't move. I couldn't. 1 inch closer and everything would change. She noticed my hesitation, and her shoulders trembled with the effort of not closing the distance herself. She pulled away. Not abruptly, not in a dramatic, punishing way. She simply vanished. 2 days passed. No café. No bookstore. Not even a trace of the warmth left on a teacup. By the 4th day, I realized I had memorized the rhythm of her absence. The way emptiness can take shape. I went earlier. Later. Sat longer than I should have. Nothing. I tried to tell myself it was appropriate. Correct. Necessary. The kind of clean silence that life prefers for things that shouldn't begin in the first place. It didn't work. My girlfriend called that night. She sounded lighter than usual. Calm. Certain. I've been thinking, she said. About moving in. Again. This time, she didn't phrase it like a question. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I said I needed a few days. She paused, wounded, but steady. Few days for what? I had no answer. Just the sound of her breathing on the line. We hung up with more between us than before. The next day, I found her. Not at the café. Not at the bookstore. At the bus stop across from both. Sitting alone. Hands in her coat pockets. Not reading. Not sipping tea. Just waiting, for a bus that hadn't arrived, or maybe one that already had. I approached, careful. She didn't look at me, but I knew she had seen me from the second I stepped off the curb. You disappeared, I said quietly. She exhaled, the kind that sounded more like surrender than air. I was trying to be responsible. Responsible. The word hit harder than rejection would have. I sat beside her, not too close. Just like before. She didn't tell me to leave. But she didn't turn toward me either. I noticed something then. A small, worn gold band still faintly visible on her ring finger. Not worn now. But once worn. I had never seen it before. She caught me noticing, and didn't hide her hand. I have a daughter, she said. Not ashamed. Not apologetic. Just honest. She's older than you think. My heartbeat slipped. She didn't elaborate, child's age, marriage status, why she was always alone. None of it. She just let the fact settle. Alive. Unavoidable. It explained everything. How careful she was. How controlled. How she always seemed like she was trying not to fall, not for lack of desire, but because she had already paid the cost before. The bus arrived. She stood first. Did not step on yet. Just looked at me, really looked, like she was memorizing something she knew she wouldn't get back. I opened my mouth, ready to say something. Anything. Nothing came out. Her lips parted. Not to speak. To almost. She stepped onto the bus. Didn't look back. The doors closed. I thought she wouldn't come back. I didn't expect her to. But I still found myself sitting outside the bookstore again, not inside, just at the narrow ledge of the stone block by the entrance. That half place between waiting and pretending not to. It was colder than before. I stayed there anyway. And then, she came. Not approaching from ahead, but the opposite side of the street, crossing slowly, eyes already on me. She didn't look surprised. Like she knew I would be there. Or feared it. Or both. She stopped just in front of me. Didn't sit. You're not supposed to wait for me. I know. No anger in her voice. Just a kind of gentle disappointment that hurt worse. Silence. Then I said, quietly, I never bought that necklace for her. Her breath halted. Lightning strikes stillness. I continued before I could lose the nerve. I don't even know why I bought it. That's the truth. I just know it wasn't for her. I didn't understand that until you weren't there. She finally sat. Slowly. Carefully. Like something delicate might break between us if she rushed. Her eyes were still on the ground. She wasn't calm, and that terrified me more than anything. My daughter is 22, she said. Not as defense. As cost. I'm not supposed to be someone you look at this way. I tried not to, I said. We both knew how little that mattered. Her hand rested on the ledge beside mine. Not touching. Just there. Close enough that every breath felt like a decision. "This is not a young person's mistake," she whispered. "This is a grown one. The kind that doesn't disappear when you walk away." She wasn't warning me off. She was asking if I understood. I did. I really did. And for once, I didn't stay silent. "I don't want something perfect," I said. "I just want something true." She finally looked at me. Really looked. Slow, like checking if I meant it enough to survive saying it. I waited for her to speak. She didn't. She just let her hand tilt, just slightly, until the side of her pinky brushed mine. The faintest, most deliberate kind of permission. She wasn't confessing. She wasn't surrendering. She was simply not resisting anymore. That was everything. We didn't kiss. We didn't promise anything. We just sat there, our hands almost touching, letting the moment exist without defending it. Her voice, barely above air, "Okay." Not yes. Not future. Just, okay. The kind of okay that means I'm not running anymore. And for now, that was enough. We didn't turn into a movie. That's the first thing I need to say. No dramatic confrontation. No sudden breakup. No airport rush. Just the gradual, quiet rearranging of gravity. Like chairs shifting slightly closer at a dinner table. Like two routines choosing to overlap instead of avoid. She didn't disappear again. We didn't meet every day, that would have ruined it. But every few mornings, 8:47 a.m. would find both of us already at the café. Her tea. My black coffee. No need to speak. Sometimes we didn't even sit at the same table. But we always left at the same time. No plan. Just rhythm. And slowly, the space between our hands became smaller than the silence. My girlfriend and I didn't end with a fight. There was no argument, no betrayal spoken aloud. Just a mutual understanding that we weren't reaching for each other anymore, just alongside each other. I think she sensed it long before I could name it. I let her go gently. The right way. Not because someone else was waiting. But because someone else had finally made me feel present in my own life. Weeks passed. The first time she invited me in, it wasn't seductive. It was raining again. She just said, "You'll catch cold," with the smallest frown, and I followed her inside without hesitation. Her apartment was quiet. Unremarkable. Lived in a way that felt peaceful, not lonely. A photo frame face down on a shelf. A half-folded blanket on the couch. Faint scent of bergamot tea. She handed me a towel, didn't fuss over me. Just, shared warmth. We sat on the floor, backs against the couch. Not touching. Not rushing it. Just breathing in the same direction. "I haven't felt calm with someone in a long time," she said, so softly I almost thought I imagined it. I didn't reply. I just let my hand rest beside hers, not asking, not reaching, just there. She didn't move away. Her shoulders, for the first time, fully softened. That was when I knew we were already past the point of needing an answer. We had quietly chosen each other long before we admitted it. It's not perfect. It's not certain. But mornings don't feel empty now. And silence, beside her, feels earned, not avoided. She teased me once, about always arriving at exactly 8:47 a.m. I told her I liked that she already knew. She smiled, and for the first time, let her hand rest on mine first. Some stories don't end with a confession. They end with someone finally staying. Did this story stay with you? What kind of quiet, real love stories do you want to hear next?